Thanks so much, Dan. Appreciate it.
Yeah, nice to meet you.
You as well. A big tour. You're going all over the world this year.
Yeah, we really are. This is still, it's about a month and a half now we've been touring, and we're going to be going for a while. But it's fun. It's great.
You're going to some pretty cool places. I don't know if you've been to China before, and Japan, all those countries.
We've played in China a few years ago actually, but not in either Beijing or Shanghai. And we've been to Japan a few times, which is always great. I mean, both. Looking forward to both. Never been to Korea. We're playing in Seoul.
Right.
So it's exciting.
It'll be received well. I would think they're big into this dance music that you're putting out now. I get dance music. Is that what it is?
I don't know.
The new record, kind of.
Some of it is for sure. I mean, that was how I was thinking of it. I was thinking of making music like for a club for people to dance to. So
it's not a huge departure from Andorra, but it is definitely sonically different.
Yeah.
Conscious decision to move in a different kind of direction?
Yeah, definitely. I always want to. I felt like the last few albums had been kind of pointing in a direction, and that I'd kind of reached the kind of limit of what I thought I could do or wanted to do with that kind of idea. And I always want to keep changing things. It keeps it interesting for me. I don't know how. That's what it's all about. That it should be exciting and interesting for me. Otherwise, I wouldn't do it.
I heard it was going to be like 2 records originally, kind of. One under Caribou and one just kind of out there dance music.
Yeah,
and that never really happened.
The other stuff wasn't even going to be a record, really. It was just for me to like DJ with, and for me to, play out when I was DJing the last couple of years. And then I had these tracks that I really liked. For example, a track like Bowls on the album. I was like, that seems really exciting to me. It seems like something I want to release somehow. But it took a long while for me to think, wait a minute, this totally fits next to all the other, Caribou stuff that I was making.
Well, you can make Caribou whatever you want it
to. I guess it was kind of maybe subliminally, it was a way of kind of freeing myself up to think about doing anything, not worrying about, this is so different, but it doesn't matter because it's not going to be on the record. And so it kind of made me feel free to do whatever I wanted. And then coming back to it, I was like, well, great, this is all good. So that's a Caribou record.
Did you feel like there was a preconceived notion as to what Caribou was, and that's why it maybe couldn't have been originally? Just
that. I mean, no, because I've changed so much in different iterations over the years. But still, I mean, it's not that I'm particularly worried about that, but you just want to have the kind of a frame of mind of having as much freedom or not thinking about that stuff at all.
Right.
The less I think about, people who like, the songs on Andorra, which were really kind of songs, how are they going to react to this? I don't want to spend any time thinking about that. That's kind of counterproductive, I think.
Andorra was more about writing songs, not as much arranging them, whereas this was a little different. That we talk about that because that's really interesting.
Well, the Andorra was really, I'd never made music like that was kind of composed and properly arranged and had to be concise and had to really kind of have this, the arc of a pop song, it had to kind of fit that kind of trajectory. And this time round, because I was thinking of it in terms of being club music, but also it is kind of a hybrid. It's kind of these two things simultaneously going on. Some of it is written in the way Andorra was written, and some of it was kind of developed, and the arrangements came out of, DJing them and thinking, man, I wish that part went on for just repeated the same thing, which is something that you wouldn't do in a pop song kind of format. Just kind of play with the idea of repetition so much. So it is a kind of hybrid of those two things, which I like about it.
Is the live show a hybrid then in that way? Because I don't know if this is true or not. It seems like it's a lot less live instrumentation on the new record.
Yeah, but I mean, strangely so, I was kind of worried when we got to the stage of kind of thinking about playing these songs live. How are we going to do this? It is more electronic sound, synthesizers, things like that. And how are we going to play this in a way live that is this kind of spontaneous and improvisatory and has that excitement of a live band, but still has all the sonic tales of electronic sounds and that kind of stuff. And we got together as a band, or kind of started talking about how are we going to do this, and have realized that like the technology for performing live with electronic kind of elements has just come on loads in the last few years, since the last time I really was thinking about trying to play kind of loop based, because Andorra was, you know, pretty much like we were a live band.
Yeah.
You know, we just adapted it in that direction. This time I thought, well, we're gonna have to go back and kind of revisit it, this kind of thing that was always a compromise in the past. Like, how are we gonna do electronic things live? Never really worked. The technology was never really there to do it, and now it just totally is. Everything we wanted to do was just like, well, why don't we just do this, and it all worked, which is really exciting. I mean, it's to me, it's more exciting than just playing the songs as a band, because we have all those kind of freedoms that we had as a band, but we also have all the added components of, you know, somebody hitting a drum changes something that's going on in the video projections, or somebody.
So
I mean,
things like that.
everything's connected to everything else on stage, and if we want something to control something else, it's just as easy as saying, you know, hitting a button, and then it's there ready to go whenever we want to take the song off in that direction or whatever.
What are you doing in the live show? I mean, last time I saw you were playing percussion.
Yeah, I still do a bit of everything. I sing, obviously,
Yeah.
some of the songs, and play keyboards a lot, play synthesizers a lot, play guitar in some songs, play drums in some of the songs, and percussion. Yeah.
Is the guitar? Is it going to be like a guitar though, or is it a guitar that each note you hit is actually triggering something else?
The guitars actually are independent. I mean, they're like,
They sound like guitars.
they sound like
Okay.
guitars.
I was just intrigued by what we were saying before.
But I mean, yeah, I mean, they're the only kind of instruments that aren't connected to everything else. But Ryan, who plays guitar, I mean, there's a lot of sounds. That was another interesting part of it. Was there's a lot of sounds on there that, like, either they're guitars and they really don't sound like guitars on the record, or they're another instrument, and Ryan's kind of adapted that sound to. So he's doing lots of great things just with lots of effects on the guitar and stuff like that.
You mentioned singing before, and there were some tracks on the record without vocals, and then you got a song like "Sun," where it's just the word "sun" over and over. How important is lyrics for you?
I mean, yeah. Again, it's kind of two records in that sense. That some of them are instrumental, and some of them aren't kind of lyrically based. But then some of the other songs are definitely the most, or really the first time the lyrics have been kind of personal to me or about something relevant to me. In the past, all the songs have just kind of been fictional sketches of things, you know. And this album, I mean, in almost every way, it feels like the most personal. The way it sounds, I feel like I have the kind of most ownership over the sounds on these records. I made up that keyboard sound. I made that, you know, all the sonic details, and it really feels like it borrows the least from the music around me compared to all the other records I've made, I guess. And one part of that is singing, like that my voice sounds the most like my actual voice, undisguised kind of on this record, and the lyrics for the first time are kind of personal to me about things going on in my life or people around me.
How come this time?
I think, I mean, it's a kind of progression of confidence, like starting to sing on the second record that I made, and singing a bit more every time, and confidence about actually just singing, and also confidence about kind of feeling like I can put more of myself into the music and be more open about that kind of thing. And also just the kind of the age that I am, I guess. If, for example, you know, my two remaining grandparents passed away, and while I was making this record, you know, I'm just of that kind of age when kind of larger life things, whatever, it's a cliche I suppose, but at that kind of age, you know, that people, another Odessa's about a divorce of friends of ours. It's the first time I kind of felt like these were things that I wanted to write a song about, rather than in my 20s I was just like, well, you know, I don't really have anything to write a song about it, really. So.
What are you working on anything new? Is there stuff?
No, I mean, I wish it was possible to do both, but at the same time, yeah. So we're constantly on tour. We're really well, like almost.
Yeah, it looks like it all summer. You're gone.
Almost every day this year we'll be doing a concert. But I also kind of like that about it, that when we're on tour, we're just thinking about what's the way to make this the most exciting and make this work the best possible, because it is something. It's its own distinct thing from the record. It's not just an afterthought. I want it to be, you know, something different but equally important to the music. And then coming back after that, a year of not making any music at all, that's kind of a nice way to start making music again, to think it's totally starting fresh.
Blank slate.
Yeah, blank slate, and that, you know, there's no kind of exhaustion of I've been working on this track every day for the past month. It's driving me crazy. You know, there's none of that. There's like just at the end of the touring, I'm so eager to make music again, and at the end of the album being finished, I'm so eager to go on tour. It's kind of a nice rhythm in that way.
Well, you're always happy that way.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, that's what's important.
Yeah.
Cool. Thank you.
Thank you.